Have you ever found yourself sharing something with a friend or family member, only to later regret it, that little knot of anxiety in your stomach, wishing you could reel the words back in? It happens. We trust the people closest to us. We want to be open. And sometimes, in the comfort of conversation, we let slip details about our lives that maybe, just maybe, were better left unsaid. It's a painful reality that not everyone, even those we love, always has our absolute best interests at heart. Or sometimes, they simply don't understand. Or they might unintentionally cause us stress or difficulty with what we share. As we get older, our lives become richer, more complex, and sometimes more vulnerable. We've accumulated experiences, lessons learned, perhaps some bumps and bruises along the way, and we have our own way of doing things, our own peace we want to protect. There are certain aspects of our lives, certain pieces of information, that when shared openly, can actually disrupt that peace, create unnecessary complications, or even leave us feeling exposed and vulnerable. It's not about being secretive or building walls. It's about wisdom, about protecting your own tranquility and dignity in this stage of life. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 specific things that, while they might seem harmless to mention, are often best kept private. These are areas where sharing can lead to unsolicited advice you didn't ask for, judgment you don't deserve, or complications you simply don't need. Keeping these few things to yourself can be a powerful way to maintain your independence, your peace of mind, and your sense of control over your own life. It's about choosing what energy and opinions you invite into your world. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you. So, let's start with the first area that many of us, perhaps without thinking, tend to discuss quite openly, but which can often cause more trouble than it's worth, and that is the specific details of your finances. Now, I'm not talking about hiding everything from your children or your spouse, if that's your arrangement. Of course, I'm talking about the detailed ins and outs of your money situation with wider friends, extended family, neighbors, or even casual acquaintances. Things like the exact amount of your pension check, how much you have in savings, the precise value of your home, or any specific debts you might still be managing. Why is this something better kept quiet? Well, think about it. Money is a deeply personal topic, and it stirs up all sorts of things in people. When you share specific numbers, you invite comparison, you invite judgment, and you invite unsolicited opinions. If you mention you have a certain amount saved, some people might suddenly see you as a potential lender, or they might think you should be spending it differently, or traveling more, or less. They might compare it to their own situation and feel envious or pity, neither of which is a comfortable dynamic for a friendship or family tie. If you mention a struggle, like a specific bill or debt, you might get well-meaning but overwhelming advice. Or worse, pity that feels patronizing. You might also attract the wrong kind of attention, people who might see you as a target for scams or requests for money. Let's imagine a scenario. You're having tea with a friend, and the conversation drifts to retirement. You casually mention how much your monthly pension is. Suddenly, your friend's eyes widen. Maybe they make a comment like, "Oh, is that all?" Or, "Wow, I wish I had that much." The conversation shifts. It's no longer a relaxed chat. It's about your income, and it can feel like you're being evaluated. Or perhaps a relative hears about a chunk of savings you have set aside for a rainy day. Suddenly, they have an idea for a great investment opportunity or a small loan they desperately need. It puts you in an awkward position, doesn't it? You might feel pressured to explain your financial decisions, to justify why you spend on certain things, or why you don't spend on others. Your financial independence is part of your overall independence, and keeping the specifics private helps protect that boundary. Think about the relief of not having to navigate those conversations. Instead of saying, "My pension is exactly X amount," you could say something general like, "We manage," or "We're comfortable," or We live within our means. These phrases satisfy curiosity without giving away details that can be used to form opinions or make demands. When you talk about your home, instead of the exact market value, you can talk about how much you enjoy living there, the memories you've made, or the garden. It shifts the focus from the material value to the emotional value, which is far more fulfilling and far less likely to cause issues. This isn't about mistrusting everyone you know. It's about recognizing that financial information is sensitive and that not everyone has the same understanding or boundaries around money. By keeping the specifics of your income, savings, and debts private, you protect yourself from potential exploitation, from judgment, and from the subtle shifts in relationships that can happen when money becomes a topic of scrutiny. It allows your relationships to be based on shared interests, mutual support, and affection, rather than on perceptions of your financial status. It preserves your right to manage your money as you see fit, without feeling the need to justify your choices to others. It's a simple boundary, but a powerful one for maintaining your peace of mind and your personal sovereignty in later life. It lets you sleep better at night, knowing that piece of your life is secure and not subject to the opinions or potential needs of others. Moving on from our finances, there's another deeply personal area where discretion is often the better part of valor, and that's the specific details of your health conditions or treatments. Now, of course, this doesn't apply to necessary discussions with a trusted partner or someone directly involved in your care, but sharing every ache, pain, diagnosis, and medication with friends, neighbors, or the wider family circle can become a heavy burden, both for you and for them. When you talk extensively about your health problems, you risk becoming defined by them in the eyes of others, instead of seeing you as the vibrant, interesting person you are. They might start seeing you primarily as someone who is unwell. Every conversation might eventually circle back to your ailments. People might start treating you differently, perhaps with excessive caution or pity, which can feel debilitating and isolating. You might also attract a flood of well-meaning but often conflicting advice, home remedies, and miracle cures that can be overwhelming and confusing, and might even contradict the advice of your doctor. Imagine you mention a specific diagnosis to a friend. Suddenly, that friend starts researching it online and calls you with alarming statistics or scary anecdotes they've heard. Or a relative who knows someone with a similar condition starts sharing every detail of that person's difficult journey, making you anxious about your own future. It's kind that they care, but it's not always helpful. It can increase your own anxiety and make it harder to focus on the positive steps you are taking to manage your health. Sharing general updates like, "I'm feeling a bit under the weather," or "I had a doctor's appointment, and we're working on things," is usually sufficient. You can communicate that you're dealing with something without giving a blow-by-blow account of your symptoms or listing your medications. You have the right to privacy about your own body and your own health journey. Deciding who needs to know what specific information is a form of self-care. Your medical information is confidential between you and your healthcare providers, and you get to choose who else you invite into that circle of knowledge. Think about the times you've been around someone who constantly talks about their health issues. While compassion is important, it can sometimes dominate the conversation and become draining for everyone involved. You don't want to be that person unless you genuinely need support from specific individuals. By keeping the intricate details of your health private, you steer conversations towards other aspects of your life, your hobbies, your thoughts on the world, your happy memories, your plans for the week. You remain a multifaceted individual, not just a collection of symptoms. This discretion also protects you from potential judgment or misunderstanding, particularly regarding conditions that might have a social stigma attached. It allows you to maintain control over your own narrative. You decide when, how, and to whom you disclose sensitive health information, ensuring that you do so on your own terms and only when it serves a purpose you choose, such as seeking specific support or advice from a trusted source. It's about preserving your dignity and maintaining your independence in managing your own well-being. Your health journey is personal, and keeping the details private is a way of honoring that personal journey without inviting unnecessary worry or interference from others. It frees up your energy and theirs to focus on more positive and engaging topics. Continuing our discussion about personal boundaries. The third area where it's often wise to exercise caution is when it comes to sharing specific frustrations or criticisms about other family members, especially those closest to you, with outsiders or even other family members not directly involved. It might feel good in the moment to vent to a friend about a disagreement with your son, a perceived slight from your daughter-in-law, or an annoyance with your sibling. However, these conversations can have unintended and lasting consequences. When you air specific grievances about one family member to another friend or relative, you are essentially placing that listener in an awkward position. They might feel uncomfortable, unsure how to respond, or they might even inadvertently carry that information or perception forward, potentially causing further friction or changing their own opinion of the family member you discussed. Family dynamics are complex and often best worked out, if they are to be worked out at all, directly between the individuals involved. Bringing in outside perspectives, or worse, involving other family members who weren't part of the initial issue, can escalate misunderstandings and create deeper rifts. Let's say you're upset because your daughter canceled plans last minute. You vent to your sister about how unreliable your daughter is being. Your sister, perhaps trying to be supportive, agrees with you or adds a past grievance of her own about your daughter. Now, the issue isn't just between you and your daughter. It's been amplified and shared. If your sister later mentions this conversation to someone else, or even subtly changes her behavior towards your daughter based on your complaint, it can create distance and mistrust within the family unit. Your daughter might feel betrayed that you discussed your issue with her behind her back, rather than addressing it directly with her. This doesn't mean you can never talk about family challenges. Sharing general feelings with a very trusted confidant, like, "I'm feeling a bit stressed about a family matter right now," is different from detailing specific faults or actions of an individual family member. The difference lies in focusing on your own feelings and the situation generally, rather than dissecting and criticizing another person's character or behavior. Keeping intra-family disagreements private is a way of respecting the privacy of other family members. Even when you are upset with them, it gives you the space to cool down and potentially address the issue directly and constructively with the person involved. If you choose to do so, it prevents others from forming negative, second-hand opinions of your loved ones based on a moment of frustration. It preserves the possibility of repair and reconciliation within the family without the added pressure of external knowledge or judgment. Think about how you would feel if you knew a family member was regularly discussing your perceived flaws or mistakes with their friends or other relatives. It would likely feel like a betrayal of trust, making you less likely to be open and vulnerable with them in the future. By extending that same courtesy, even in moments of frustration, you uphold a level of respect and privacy within your family unit that, while challenging sometimes, ultimately contributes to healthier long-term relationships. It reinforces the idea that family matters are handled within the family, protecting your inner circle from external interference and judgment, and allowing for more genuine and direct communication when necessary. The fourth type of secret, often better kept private, are your deepest regrets or significant past mistakes. We all have them. Things we wish we had done differently, opportunities missed, words spoken in haste, decisions made from inexperience. These are often the lessons that have shaped us most profoundly, but they can also carry lingering feelings of shame, guilt, or sadness. While there's value in processing these feelings, sharing the intimate details of your most painful regrets or significant past errors with others, especially casually, can be problematic. For one, it makes you vulnerable to judgment. Not everyone will understand the context of your past, the person you were then, or the journey you've taken since. What feels like a heavy burden of regret to you might seem like a minor issue to someone else, leading to dismissive responses that invalidate your feelings. Or, Conversely, they might judge you harshly for something that happened years ago, failing to see the growth and change you've experienced. Sharing deep regrets can also inadvertently create an emotional burden for the listener, particularly if they feel ill-equipped to handle the intensity of your feelings. They might not know how to comfort you or respond appropriately, leading to awkwardness or avoidance in future interactions. Furthermore, constantly revisiting and recounting past regrets can keep you trapped in them, making it harder to fully live in the present and appreciate the person you are today. For instance, perhaps you regret a career choice you made decades ago that you feel set you on a less fulfilling path. Sharing the depth of that regret with a friend might lead them to constantly bring it up, or to feel sorry for you, reinforcing your own negative feelings rather than helping you move past them. Or maybe you regret a mistake you made in a past relationship. Sharing the painful details might lead to others viewing that past relationship, or even you, in a solely negative light, overshadowing all the good that might have existed or the positive changes you've made since. This isn't to say you should never talk about your past. Sharing lessons learned from experience or reflecting on challenges overcome can be inspiring and connect you with others. But the raw, unedited pain of a deep regret is often a very personal burden. Trusted professional help, like therapy, or deeply private conversations with a truly exceptional confidant, might be appropriate venues for processing such heavy emotions. But casual sharing can lead to you feeling more exposed, misunderstood, and even more burdened than before. Keeping your deepest regrets private allows you to process them internally or with carefully chosen support, at your own pace and in a way that leads to acceptance and peace, rather than external validation or judgment. It protects your current identity from being overly defined by past actions you may have long since learned from or atoned for. It allows you to present the version of yourself you are today, a person shaped by experience. Yes, but not necessarily haunted by it. It's about owning your past without letting it overshadow your present or future, and choosing carefully who you allow into that very sensitive space of your innermost history and the feelings attached to it. It's about finding closure for yourself, rather than seeking it through potentially unhelpful external validation. It allows you to maintain your sense of self-respect and dignity, recognizing that everyone has a past, and not all of it needs to be public domain. Finally, the fifth area that can often lead to complications if shared too widely, especially before they are fully formed or set in stone, are your specific future plans or aspirations. This might seem counterintuitive. Shouldn't we share our dreams and get encouragement? While sharing goals can be motivating for some things, when it comes to significant life changes or deeply personal aspirations in later life, talking about them prematurely or with the wrong people can actually hinder them or cause you unnecessary stress. When you share a specific, concrete plan, say, you're thinking of selling your house and moving to a different town, or you're planning a solo trip you've always dreamed of, or you're considering taking up a completely new hobby like pottery or learning a language, you open yourself up to a flood of reactions. These can range from well-meaning concern, "Are you sure that's safe?" to outright negativity, "You're too old for that," or "That sounds lonely," to unsolicited advice, "You should move here instead," or "Have you thought about X, Y, or Z?" Receiving too many opinions, especially negative or cautionary ones, before you fully solidified your plans or even had a chance to work through the potential challenges yourself, can plant seeds of doubt, dampen your enthusiasm, and make you question your own judgment. It can also create a sense of pressure. Once you've told everyone your plan, you might feel obligated to follow through, even if you start having second thoughts, just to avoid explaining why you changed your mind. Conversely, if you don't follow through, you might face questions or subtle judgment about not seeing things through. Consider telling friends you're thinking of buying a camper van and touring the country. Some might be excited for you, but others might immediately list all the potential problems, mechanical breakdowns, safety concerns, loneliness, expense. This feedback, even if intended helpfully, can feel overwhelming and discouraging when you're just starting to explore an idea that excites you. Or imagine telling a relative you're thinking of taking a course to learn a new skill. They might question the cost, the time commitment, or whether it's practical at your age. Keeping your specific future plans private, especially in the early stages of thinking or planning, gives you the space to explore the idea fully on your own terms. You can research, weigh the pros and cons, and get comfortable with the concept without external noise. Once you're further along, or the plan is set, you can share it as a decision, not a potential idea open for debate. Announcing, "I've decided to take that pottery class," is very different from saying, "I'm thinking about maybe taking a pottery class. What do you think?" The first is a statement of intent. The second is an invitation for input. Want it or not, this doesn't mean you can't share anything about your future. Talking generally about wanting to travel more, pursue new interests, or simplify your life can be great conversation starters. But holding back the specific details of how and when you plan to do these things until you are ready to announce them as definite plans protects your dreams from being chipped away at by others' doubts or limited perspectives. It preserves your autonomy in decision-making and allows you the freedom to change your mind without public scrutiny. It's about nurturing your aspirations in private until they are strong enough to withstand external opinions. It allows you to feel confident in your own choices for your own future, rather than needing validation or permission from others. So, we've talked about keeping the specifics of your finances private, being discreet about detailed health conditions, exercising caution when sharing family criticisms, holding on to your deepest regrets without broadcasting them, and protecting your future plans until they're ready to be shared. These aren't rules set in stone. Of course, life is nuanced, and every relationship is different. There will always be exceptions for those truly exceptional individuals you trust implicitly, who have earned the right to be privy to your inner world. But as a general guide, being mindful of these 5 areas: your detailed money situation, the specifics of your health, family grievances, deep regrets, and unformed future plans, can make a significant difference in maintaining your peace of mind and independence as you navigate this wonderful stage of life. It's not about being secretive. It's about being selective. It's about understanding that not every thought, every detail, or every struggle needs to be public knowledge to be real or valid. Protecting these parts of your life is a form of self-respect. It's about drawing healthy boundaries that protect your emotional and practical well-being. It allows you to control your own narrative, manage your own feelings, and make your own decisions without the constant influx of external opinions and potential complications. It allows your relationships to flourish on the basis of companionship and mutual respect, rather than being strained by sensitive personal disclosures. Remember, your life is yours. You get to decide who gets access to the most private rooms within it. Choosing discretion in these 5 areas isn't about shutting people out. It's about wisely managing what you share to ensure your life remains as peaceful, independent, and joyful as possible. Small changes in how you communicate can indeed make a big difference to your health and happiness. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you ever experienced negative consequences from sharing something you later wished you hadn't? Are there other areas you think are best kept private? Share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Your insights could be incredibly helpful to others in this community. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Liking the video helps it reach more people who might benefit from it. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel. We share content here regularly aimed at helping you live your best life at every age, covering topics from health and wellness to relationships and personal growth. Thank you for spending this time with us today. Remember, navigating relationships and sharing wisely is a skill we can all keep honing. Protect your peace, honor your boundaries, and live your best life at every age.